Today I want to share with you guys how I made over $100,000 in my first year being a property manager right here in Ontario. What's going on, everyone? My name is Andrew, and today I want to share with you guys the fastest way to get into real estate investing. And that, of course, is through property management. Property management might not seem like the most attractive or the sexiest business that I want to get into. I might want to be a realtor, a wholesaler, a house flipper, anything that they make a TV show out of, that is what I want to do. But property management is surprisingly lucrative, and I'm going to tell you why. The first thing I want to point out is the benefits. If you're new to getting into real estate and you want to do something in real estate but are not sure what, because realtor requires licensing, paralegal requires licensing, a lot of things like wholesaling requires capital, and maybe you're just like, I want to start off slow and with something a little more fundamental. Property management is key. It's like a catalyst business because it builds with you a network of people like real estate investors who have properties that you can connect with and work for to develop a relationship. You want to go networking? You don't have to go to events. You can just do property management and leasing, and that will connect you. And the next thing that it does is it's going to connect you with what it means to operate a property. We're talking about contractors, tenants, prospective tenants that want to view properties. We're talking about problems that happens. It really exposes you to the ugly truth of what it means to own and operate real estate, and that is going to be very good for you. But we really want to talk about how you can go about making some good money doing property management, because everybody views that as this kind of like low-paying tier of work, but really it's surprisingly lucrative if you know how to do it right. So I'm going to share with you that right now. By the way, guys, if any of you are serious about starting your real estate investing journey today, make sure to book a discovery call with me via the link in the description below. The thing to understand here is that property management encompasses 4 different main areas of work, which are leasing, maintenance, accounting, and dispute management. And the property manager is in the center of all that, where they are responsible to manage all those extra things that surround the work of property management. So you have to make that important distinction. So when I first got into property management and I was managing various properties at 8% on average of the gross rents, because that's what property managers are charging, I quickly realized that there was a lot of extra money that went around the entire operation, such as 1 month's rent for leasing. So if you're renting out an apartment and you're going to rent it out for $2,000, you're getting $2,000 commission from that one go. If you're orchestrating maintenance, there is an aspect of management that comes into there where you can get kickbacks from your maintenance guys depending on how much work you feed them, and that is on average about 10%. It's not like it's a lot, but these things add up. And then of course, there's usually the reasons why people come to you in the first place, which is dispute management. Now, if you're a landlord or a real estate investor, you may be all too familiar with how it feels to have a problem tenant in your property and just to not want to deal with it. Well, not dealing with it is something that you can charge for, because now that the landlord wants to hand you a problem, problems are not going to come to you for you to deal with at 8%. No, there's a retainer that can come with that. And if you know how to solve these problems, you can make some good money off of eliminating these types of problems. How does this all add up to you making over $100,000 a year? Maintenance, leasing, does that really add up? So I'm going to break down how I made over $100,000 in my first year as a property manager, very simply. And I'm going to give you some high-level examples. Working as a property manager does not mean that your only source of income is actually the 8% that comes from managing the actual property. The 6 streams of income that we have is your monthly management fee, your leasing fee, your project management fee, your maintenance fees, dispute management fees when problems happen, and the 6th one that we didn't anticipate, which is a strong one, is the sales commission from real estate transactions. If you're a realtor, you can take that whole commission and actually force sales. No real estate investor ever bought 1, 2, 3 rental properties and said, I'm done. They want to buy more. And if you're in the heap of things, you can help them scale their portfolio. And if you're managing the properties, they want to buy properties that you can manage appropriately. And let's say you're not a realtor, that's okay too, because if you partner or work with a realtor, you can get a minimum 25% of that commission just as a referral, because who's controlling the relationship? You. So my first year as a property manager, I did 20 leases. And as we said, they charge at 1 month's rent commission for each lease that you do. So at $2,000 a piece, that came out to $40,000 annually in commissions for tenant placements. Now, out of maintenance fees, I generated $30,000 in profits. And I'm kind of looping in maintenance and some project management into the same category here because they kind of melded. During my first year, I couldn't really tell the difference. But $30,000, this was from markups on construction. This was also making about $100 on other smaller maintenance here and there. But over the course of a year, it came out to be about $30,000. We're at $70,000 just off of leasing and maintenance kickbacks. And if that doesn't seem realistic, you don't even have to consider maintenance. Dispute management is a big one because a lot of landlords would come to the property manager the same way that people would approach a doctor. They wait until a problem happens and then they go and see you. So they would come to me with several problems that they were just too stressed out to deal with because they had family, they had work, they had other obligations. They didn't want to be dealing with tenant problems in another city, and that's where you come in. Some people would have a tenant that they were just too afraid to approach or have a face-to-face conversation with, and I would be the one to step in and say, if you pay me a retainer, I will get rid of this problem for you. I'm not saying for you to do anything questionable here. You have to do things by the book. But more often than not, I was able to go in and negotiate something where if the client was paying me $5,000 to deal with a bad tenant situation, I would maybe offer the tenant $3,000 and I would be able to collect the $2,000. And for dispute management, I made $20,000 in my first year doing some relatively easy stuff. Cash for keys deals and negotiating move-outs. And guys, one of the things I want to point out here is that we haven't even taken into consideration the monthly management fee. In my first year, managing 25 units on an average of $200 per property, $60,000 a year. Guys, we're already at $130,000 if all those things pan out, and 25 properties to manage is not a lot. You will do 12 to 15 leases. And by the way, that doesn't mean that those are the only properties you're going to be doing leasing for, because I was also doing freelance leasing for other landlords that didn't need the management service. And we haven't even gotten into the big one yet. The big one where you can make some of that real money is if you work with a realtor and you go out and find properties. I was working with a realtor, my business partner Ping is a realtor, and we went out and we were finding deals. And we were presenting these deals to the clients that we're working with, and they're just like, yeah, if you find me a deal, why wouldn't I work with you? So you make a commission on that $700,000 property, 2% commission, you're getting 25% of that into your pocket. That adds up pretty quickly. How many do you have to do? Let's say you only do 2 or 3 in a year. That's an extra $10,000 give or take if you're only taking 25% of that. Or if you're a realtor, you decide you want to get your own real estate license, you can take the whole thing, which is about $40,000 a year right there. Guys, we are now talking about over $160,000. I think that was about $180,000 that we're approaching here. It's pretty easy to make this money if you start to roll up your sleeves, do a little bit of extra work, and start to work the relationship. We haven't even talked about the potential that comes from the network that you have, being able to do JVs, being able to do house flips, all kinds of other things that are highly synergistic with the relationship and the business of property management. And remember, if any of you guys want to know more about how to get into real estate, how to do property management, make sure to contact me through the information in the description below.